So you've just been given a diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease. Whether that be Crohn's or some form of ulcerative colitis, it's time to make some changes in your day-to-day life. Today, I'm going to be going over some simple steps that you can take to improve your health at home. My name's Jacob and I've been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis for over 10 years. And over that time, I've been through the downs and the lows of incredible flares. I've been through hospital and I'm currently medicated on a biological drug called infliximab, and that keeps me in remission, touch wood. I'm not superstitious, but I do need to touch that wood to make sure that it doesn't flare again. So step one, or tip one, is focus on sleep. I know this can be tough, especially if you've been prescribed corticosteroids or you're really stressed out and worried about the effects of inflammatory bowel disease. You might be concerned about things like the future risk of bowel cancer or the risk of the medications on your organs. These things are alarming, but don't worry, because the risks of untreated inflammatory bowel disease are much greater than the risks of medication and the side effects from that. So have some faith in your medication and put those stresses to rest. I know it can be hard to just suddenly stop stressing about inflammatory bowel disease, and honestly, I still worry about it today. So the best things that I found for that are writing down your worries and sharing them in a community. For instance, I've got a Discord community down below. You can join that and talk to people with inflammatory bowel disease from all over the world, and we can help you. We can chat, whatever you want to do. And just sharing your thoughts with other people who have been through the same thing as you can really help. It can help reduce your stress. It can make you feel like you've shared something with part of a community and help you feel connected to others. And that really helps you get through. And if you are worried late at night, you're worried about the symptoms and all that, say you're bleeding, like I was bleeding a lot with ulcerative colitis, just know that you're not going to die from the blood loss. You're not bleeding enough for that to happen. Just know that at some point things will turn around. Things will be okay. You can get to the point when the flare subsides and you can feel like a normal person again. And I know that when you're flaring, it does feel awful. I've been there and it feels devastating. But things do turn around. This is just a temporary moment. You can treat it as a life lesson. You can take this time to reflect on how you've been treating your body over this time. What things did you do before leading up to this flare? Were there any red flags that happened before the flare happened? Make a note of these things, but just try to write things down and it can help remove them from your mind. Another way that helped me was routine. Even if I was unable to go to sleep because of the worry, the stress, I'd still go to bed at the same time every day. And I'd wake up around the same time. Even if I only slept a couple of hours, I'd just get up, carry on with my day. And sometimes that sleep deprivation can feel awful. But over the weeks, as it comes, you'll find sleep can come easier. And sleep is one of the things that is critical to focus on during this time. So do anything that helps you sleep. For me, I like to use earplugs. I like to have a fan on for this sort of white noise to help me drown out any other noises. I put a t-shirt over my eyes to block out any light. And I make sure I haven't eaten for a couple of hours before I go to bed. I like to have a hot shower before bed, maybe an hour before I get into bed. I also like to have lemon balm tea. That's very good. Helps me stop thinking so much. I've got a whole laundry list of things that I like to do. I also like to wear blue light blockers at night just to calm myself down. Do whatever it takes to help you sleep because it's critical for your healing and critical for your well-being. When I was on corticosteroids myself, I found that I felt crazy because I was not sleeping. I was worried. I was scared. I get these jolts of fear in me about anything. I was just stressed out in general and I wasn't sleeping. And I remember I got so emotional. I'd just break down crying for no real reason other than I was so tired and distraught by what was going on. But yes, eventually it passed. And here I am today, again, touch wood, and I feel fantastic. I just want to touch that wood again. So, diet. This is confusing, I know. And everyone's got their own opinion on diet. Everyone's got their own, these foods are great, these foods are bad. And I've got my own list of foods that I think are great and foods that I think are bad. You know your body better than anyone else. So if you do consistently find yourself making mistakes where you're eating foods that are just like making you flare up, write those down and don't beat yourself up for eating them. Treat it as a lesson. You've just eaten a food and your body said, I don't like this. You're getting the message and it's ringing you up, and it's time to answer that call and actually take note of what it's telling you. Maybe it was nuts. Maybe you ate some peanuts and you found, that's making me flare. Write it down so you don't make that mistake again. Don't let this message go unheard this time. And I've been there many times where I've eaten a food, the next hour or the next half an hour, it kicks in. I'm in total agony and pain. And I've put myself through that over and over again. And I was not listening to the messages my body was telling me. And it was only until I actually came in with that mindset and I thought, I'm actually going to listen to what is being said on the biological phone this time. And I stopped eating it. And then the pain went away. You got to listen to yourself. But there are some basic foods you might want to try and some basic foods you might want to exclude. For instance, energy drinks, sugary chocolates, all that sort of thing, sweets, crisps, gone. I think we can all agree that that is not good for anyone. Just bin them. Get them out of your diet completely. Try some whole foods with less ingredients. That's to make it simple. If you can eat meat, try eating more meat. Protein is the building blocks for repair and healing inside your body. So you need to make sure you are getting enough protein. I can't give much advice for any vegans out there because I'm not a vegan. I like to eat meat. But get some protein in you if you can. Maybe just boil some meats, like boil a chicken breast. Just make it as palatable and as soft as possible for yourself, especially if you're flaring. You can be very experimental when you're not flaring, but if you are flaring, keep it very simple. For instance, one of the meals that I would eat during my intense flare, just before I went into hospital, was chicken breast, mashed potato and butter. There's not much else to it than that. That's a very soft and simple meal. I would also have what is called ready brek here, but basically it's milled oats. It's oats so fine, it's like a powder, and I would put peanut butter in it. And that was my breakfast. It's not, the best breakfast, but it worked for me. So just get some simple foods in. If you can eat fruits, that's fantastic. If it feels like eating that sort of thing is going to flare you up, don't bother. Find the foods that work for you and stick with them. Exercise. This is, these are the pillars of healing and recovery: sleep, diet, and exercise. Exercise is a big part of it. And you can just start by going for a walk. Allocate some time to just go outside, go for a little walk around. Even if, like, when I was in hospital in peak flare, I was walking around like this. I felt like I needed a Zimmer frame, but I still got out the hospital bed and I walked around. It's not like my legs were actually like terrible. I just felt awful. My gut was in such bad disrepair. I walked around like this. But the times where my flare wasn't as bad, I've gone through quite a few flares. I was actually out in my garden picking up weights, deadlifting them. And I was walking around like normal. I was strength training because I didn't want to let a stupid flare stop me from feeling like myself again. Going out there and lifting some weights. There's nothing wrong with that. And you just got to listen to your body. For instance, I just done away with back squatting. So that's when I put a barbell on my back, because that exercise in particular felt like it added a lot of pressure in here. So I thought, screw that, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to pick weight up off the floor because it makes me feel more manly again. The way I described it was it gave me man juices. But I guess it just raised my testosterone levels. But it's good for anyone. If you're a woman, you should be deadlifting too. It's for everyone, exercise. And it doesn't have to be deadlifting. Like I said, just walking. That's it, just going for a walk, or lifting your legs up, or just messing around and throwing your legs around, like throw your arms around, whatever it is, do it, do something, get some exercise in, get that heart rate up. It's critical to healing in the same way that focusing on your diet and your sleep is critical. So those are the key pillars for getting to grips with your inflammatory bowel disease. Now, there is one more thing, and that's medication. And I know some of you want to be medication free. You know, I'd love to be medication free. But the thing is, treating your inflammatory bowel disease is important, especially if you're in a flare. I must say, if you're not treating your inflammatory bowel disease and you are in a flare, you're making a grave error here. You've got to get out of that flare. Once you're out that flare, feel free to experiment. But just know that those medications are there to help you and to get you out of that flare. The whole time that you're leaving it untreated, you're increasing your risks of bowel cancer or any other complication. So do your best to find that medication that works for you. And the thing is, it can be a lengthy process. I was in and out of flares for upwards of 8 years before I finally went on a biological drug known as Infliximab. And that, touch wood once again, is helping. God, I really feel like I got to touch that wood a couple of times. I just don't want to jinx this. I'm not superstitious, I swear. Anyway, get those medications, try them out. It was trial and error for me. I was on mesalazine for the longest time. It kept me in and out of flares over that 8-year period. It didn't really work for me. In fact, I've got some medications right here. For instance, I have some mesalazine, Pentasa Satchels, 2 grams each. I would rip these open, put them on the back of my tongue every day. 4 grams Pentasa, mesalazine, 2 grams per sachet. That was it. I also have these mesalazine enemas. I've also got some steroid enemas. So I've been there and I've done that. Look, prednisone, 20 milligram rectal foam. And I've got it right here because I've talked about the medications on camera before. But they're all there. At the minute I take, like I said, Infliximab. I get that injected into my veins every 8 weeks. And I also take 2 50 milligram pills of azathioprine. And that's another immunosuppressant. And that's to stop me from building antibodies to the IV. And yes, they might have long-term negative side effects. However, it's given me some of the best health, touch wood, in a long time. I've been able to get into peak physical shape, and that's thanks to medication. So treat your inflammatory bowel disease. Do simple things. We all know that we should be doing it, focusing on sleep, diet and exercise. It's the basics. But just set aside some time to do it. And I can assure you, once you focus on these things, these 4 things, sleep, diet, exercise and medication, your flare will subside. It is more of a mental battle, this. The physical side effects, yes, they are tough, but the mental battle you have to go through, it's a one of strengthening of resolve. You will become a stronger, brighter, better person for having been through this. And I want to give you my full support. So thank you so much for watching. Join the Discord if you want to talk to me and some other people going through similar journeys to you. And I'll see you in the next video.